bringing you up to date, getting the latest from our team in Zimbabwe. We know that vote counting has begun, but no results are out yet. Mark Klusener is our eyes and ears in Harare this morning. He joins me live now from the capital for the latest. Good morning, Mark. Vote counting underway. And how is it going from where you are?
Well, good morning, Dan. Yes, what we've been told and reports coming from local media and some wire agencies is that the authorities have now said that it will be illegal for any group other than the Zimbabwean Electoral Commission to release results ahead of time. Now, this has really put a bit of a damper on things for particular civil groups who had planned to ensure that the vote was fair, that there could be no opportunities for vote rigging. They were planning to release as those results became available. How the process is going to be working is we are going to have each polling station tallying up the votes and placing them up outside that polling station. So civil rights groups were planning to just make a note of what was going on there, sending it through to a central point here in Harare, and then broadcasting it either via the internet or via media conferences. This, we've now been told, is likely to be deemed illegal, and there have been threats that they will crack down on anyone releasing results ahead of the ZEC.
Is it a case of managing the situation somewhat to control feelings on the ground, or do you think the authorities fear that there might be early leaks, especially through social media as well, as we've seen it being used a lot pre the election in Zimbabwe?
Well, it's a bit difficult to say exactly what the reasons are. While we do know that there are concerns that any results which come out which may be incorrect could result in some sort of civil unrest, I think that's what they're going to be saying as the official line. Civil rights groups are saying that, given the recent elections in this country, the past elections in this country, they have an obligation and a duty to ensure that they are also there as watchdogs to make sure that there is no opportunity for any shenanigans, any vote rigging to take place.
Okay, now vote counting has begun. Mark, just remind me again how they were planning to do it, because we understood yesterday that they will start counting as soon as the ballot, they'll start counting the ballots as soon as the polling stations were closed.
Well, absolutely. What you have is the polling stations generally closed at 7 p.m. last night. Unless there were still people in the lines, then they extended that voting until everyone who was in the queue had actually voted. Then they closed those stations. The boxes were then sealed, and they began the process of then counting. There were at least 4 party agents from each party who were going to be in that room as that counting process took place. They were going to count until they had completed all the counting, and they were then going to double check the results and post those results outside that voting station. Once this happens, those results, of course, can also be phoned through or sent through officially to Harare here, where the main voting station is, and then those results would then be tallied by the ZEC and then released, as you mentioned earlier, within 5 days.
Now, we've heard from some of the observers, like the AU, saying the election was peaceful, free and fair. And from what you are hearing, from what you've gathered overnight in this morning, is there a general sense that these elections would have been credible?
Well, certainly the elections themselves appear to have been relatively peaceful. There were a few incidents reported, but nothing officially. I know opposition parties have reported a few incidents where they said there were some irregularities. But it's not so much the actual voting day which has been the problem. It's been the run-up to this election. Opposition parties have complained that one of the biggest problems is the fact that they weren't able to get the voters' roll until really right a few hours before those polls open, and when they did get it, they got that voters roll in hard copy, so they weren't able to check to see that there were people who've been either omitted, or if there were people who were ghost voters, meaning that they were dead and they were actually on that voters roll. So this has been one of the biggest complaints. There were also concerns about the logistical side of things, of trying to get all these people voted, but most, from what we're gathering at this stage, it appears as if most of the voting on the actual day went off smoothly.
Thank you very much. We'll have to leave you there. That's our reporter, Mark Klusener in Harare.
News that moves. eNCA.com.